The day several have been waiting 7 years for, the total solar eclipse moving across Texas and other portions of the United States is only hours away. On its heels, we're going to be dealing with what could end up being a fairly significant severe weather event both today and tomorrow in the state of Texas, and that is going to be a big problem for those of you traveling home from the eclipse and otherwise. So let's just get into it in this Monday edition of the Texas Weather Roundup. Good morning. It is Monday, the 8th of April, 2024. I'm Texas Storm Chasers Baldy-in-Chief David Reimer. We're going to once again try not to make this one of these 20 to 25 minute videos simply because I need to get a nap before eclipse time, so about 6 hours, give or take. We are expecting some clouds for the eclipse, unfortunately, but we'll talk about it. And then, perhaps more concernedly, and shifting to be our primary focus quickly, is the potential for severe thunderstorms that continues to increase both today and tomorrow in the state of Texas. Let's just start with the eclipse. We're going to do, now that we're in the range of high-resolution weather model data, we're just going to look at some graphics here. And truthfully, I'm not going to nitpick on this too much. We are within hours of the event. Clouds are streaming north from the Gulf of Mexico. We'll have a live satellite video going today on the Texas Weather Center YouTube channel, and we'll have live storm chasing video. That's not really storm chasing video, but we'll have live video from storm chaser Jason Cooley of the eclipse this afternoon. And then we're going to have live storm chasing video of actual severe storms later this afternoon into tonight. Mother Nature making life difficult in that department. We'll talk about the severe potential shortly. This is the latest high-rise rapid refresh model showing the expectation of widespread low clouds across the Edwards Plateau into the hill country for the totality path for the solar eclipse. Obviously, we'll have a partial eclipse across the entire state of Texas, and at least the western portions of the state will enjoy mostly clear skies thanks to being west of the dry line. We'll look at that in a minute. Across the northern portions of the state, notice the color shift from those darker blues over to the oranges. That is because we're expecting upper-level clouds across portions of north-central Texas, Texoma, northeast Texas, and those will hopefully be thin enough to allow for at least a partial view of the total solar eclipse early this afternoon across those areas. But again, outside of maybe a rogue break in the clouds, we're not expecting clear skies in the state of Texas along the path of totality today. You can see low clouds, portions of central Texas, the Brazos Valley, east Texas, and at 2 o'clock, we're going to have severe storms firing up probably an hour later in parts of central Texas, the Brazos Valley, and east Texas, which we'll talk about in a minute. And then finally, here's just a look at the same color scale graphics, but for the entire United States. So again, parts of the state, I guess at least the Big Bend, you'll have clear skies. Everyone else in Texas, you're going to have either low clouds, high clouds, a combination of both. A little bit of western Arkansas will be clear. Portions of Vermont, New Hampshire, New England. Otherwise, well, there's going to be clouds. All right. We'll keep an eye on it, but again, that's the forecast. That's it. We're moving on. It's time to talk storms, and that's going to be the bigger issue in terms of impacts, I think. Here's the latest severe weather outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. Now, any risk level here, if you're in any risk level, that means you have a chance of severe storms in your area. Today, this afternoon, after about 3 p.m. through early Tuesday morning. We now have a level 3 out of 5 risk, meaning several to numerous severe thunderstorms are possible. The Big Country, North Texas, Northwest Texas. That level 2 risk, scattered severe storms, includes now all of South Central Texas, the Hill Country, the Concho Valley. The Hill Country, I said that, Central Texas, the Brazos Valley, East Texas, the Arklatex, North Texas, and then we have the possibility of isolated severe storms, the Edwards Plateau, the Permian Basin, Southeast Texas, the Golden Triangle around Beaumont. And again, the difference between these risk levels, the higher your risk level, the more likely you are to have a severe storm within your immediate area this afternoon, tonight, into Tuesday morning. Once again, I remind folks that we are expecting this severe weather threat to continue well into the night, and that could include the threat of tornadoes. This afternoon, we expect initial thunderstorm development across central Texas, the Brazos Valley, East Texas, along a northward moving boundary. Some of the most intense storms in that corridor will likely be supercellular, with the potential of producing tornadoes. Hail up to the size of baseballs, damaging straight-line winds. The exact tornado threat is going to depend on the number of storms we see and the exact conditions of the low-level environment. The eclipse is going to have a minimal effect on today's severe weather chances for what it's worth. We have a lot of lift overhead from an upper-level storm system, plenty of moisture coming in from the Gulf of Mexico. The eclipse may just delay things an hour. Things may fire an hour later compared to what otherwise may have been, but otherwise it's not going to modulate or decrease the threat of severe storms in any way, shape, or form. Again, main issue, for the tornado threat, if we have more storms in a small area, that may help keep a individual storm from trying to become more dominant, thus reducing the threat. It actually manages to become tornadic. 2, low-level environment, if storms are slightly elevated or we have a bit of a cool layer near the surface, that may help to keep the threat of tornadoes lower. Otherwise, we're going to have a lot of low-level wind shear, plenty of upper-level wind shear, plenty of instability, it looks like. The main question is the amount of low-level instability closer to the surface. The low was 3 kilometers. But if that lines up and we end up seeing discrete or semi-discrete supercells in a favorable orientation, yeah, we're going to have issues with tornadoes in parts of the Brazos Valley, East Texas, Northeast Texas, North Texas. Later this afternoon, this evening, scattered thunderstorms. They may not develop till late this evening, off the dry line in West Texas. Moving east, the potential for big hail, damaging winds, maybe a tornado or two. The tornado threat doesn't look as high as areas farther southeast. And again, that could be a late evening thing. And again, strongest storms today could easily produce baseball-size hail. To be totally honest with you, not out of the question to see giant hail up to the size of softballs. We'll just have to wait and see how trends materialize. We're going to take a look at a simulated radar graphic, animation, whatever you want to call it, here in a minute. Now, tomorrow, we've seen an upgrade to the severe weather risk, and we've also seen an uptick in tornado probabilities. Notice that tornado risk is higher now. The potential for several to numerous severe thunderstorms Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening, Central Texas, the Brazos Valley, Southeast Texas, East Texas. That includes the potential of tornadoes, damaging winds, large hail. We may see a couple clusters of severe storms move across these areas tomorrow. Scattered severe storms possible. The Victoria Crossroads, the coastal plains, the coastal bend back towards Georgia West, South Central Texas, the Hill Country, the Concho Valley, the Big Country, North Texas, into the eastern Permian Basin, West Texas, isolated severe storms farther south, west, north possible. Now, exactly how Tuesday sets up will depend a bit on how today plays out, where all the ingredients line up tomorrow, but definitely the potential, if not likelihood, for another substantial severe weather risk on Tuesday. We may honestly see storms fire up pretty early tomorrow. Some data indicates at near sunrise for a round, and then more storms in the afternoon. But again, today, tomorrow, strongest storms, baseball-size hail or larger. Damaging straight-line winds, 60 to 80 miles an hour. Tornado threat today, tornado threat tomorrow. It doesn't matter. Honestly, it really doesn't matter over the next 2 days if we have 1 tornado, 5 tornadoes, or 55 tornadoes. The only thing that really is going to matter to you is if we have 1 tornado tomorrow or today and it rolls down your street. That's going to be a big deal for you. So again, don't worry about the numbers, how high the risk levels are, all that hoopla. Just worry about the fact you might have problems with severe weather and you need to be weather aware. That's the main point here. Don't be scared. Don't get anxious. Don't think it's the end of the world. Trust me, that's not going to help you in any way, shape, or form. Mother Nature has proven plenty of times before these events can be a bust and these forecasts can be hocus pocus. But the key point is, just stay weather aware. The fact you're watching these videos and know there's the chance for rowdy weather means you're already better off than probably 80% of the people out there who have no flippity-boppity-boo idea what's going on. So, hey, take solace in that. All right, let's take a look at the high-res rapid refresh model for today, tonight, tomorrow. Yeah, you can take a look at the cloud cover around the eclipse time, but honestly, we talked about that I'm over it. We're going to talk about storms. You can see storms fire up 2 to 3 to 4 p.m., portions of central Texas, the Brazos Valley, into East Texas. I'm going to let that play out once, and we're going to go back because I actually want to talk through this. All right, here we go. We're going to go this afternoon. Here's 2 o'clock. You can see isolated scattered storms firing up portions of the Brazos Valley, southeast Texas, east Texas. These may be what we call warm air advection showers and storms. These may not even be severe. Hopefully, they're going to behave themselves. As we get closer to 3, 4 o'clock, some of these are likely going to evolve into supercells as they move north-northeast. You can see as I push this towards 5 o'clock, broken line of severe storms, central Texas, the Brazos Valley, east Texas. And again, some of these are likely going to exhibit supercellular characteristics, large to very large hail, damaging winds, perhaps a tornado threat. And again, if we could keep storms kind of clustered like this versus just all out by their lonesome, we may, keyword may, be able to keep the tornado threat limited. That being said, in this kind of an environment, we're not talking about, the dry line, stuff like that. This is more of a severe weather setup we see in places like Mississippi, Alabama, southeastern United States, what we call open warm sector supercells, where we have enough lift to where these things could just fire up out all by their lonesome, way east of the dry line, stuff like that. And sometimes the environment is supportive enough for tornadoes that they still happen even if storms are kind of clustered like this. So we're just going to have to keep a very close eye out. Again, that's a possibility, not a guarantee. Hail, wind, yeah, it's probably going to be an issue regardless. All right, here we go. Here's 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Now notice, nasty-looking storm southeast of Waco. Do not take this model for verbatim. That means do not take where it shows these storms completely and utterly literally. Model could be off by a few counties. It could be off by half a state, to be totally honest with you, depending on just how bad or good the data is. The clear indication is scattered severe storms late this afternoon through this evening, central Texas, the Brazos Valley, east Texas, moving north into north central Texas and the Arklatex by dinner time. Isolated to scattered severe storms firing across west Texas into the big country northwest Texas with big hail, gusty winds, blowing dust because yeah, and maybe a tornado or two. The tornado threat does not look as high comparative to areas further southeast. Now, here's 10 o'clock. You can see we got stormies galore. We got a cluster or just a big old mess of storms, some of which are still producing hail, wind, maybe a couple tornadoes. North Texas, northeast Texas, east Texas, and then we got some supercells, west central Texas moving towards northwest Texas at 10 o'clock. Here's midnight. You can see we still got scattered severe storms. West Texas, northwest Texas, almost along the boundary, it looks like, a warm front maybe, into Texoma, north Texas, northeast Texas. Now, I don't expect things to completely look like this when we get to midnight tonight. In all likelihood, we're going to see some updated data come out later today as we get a better handle on the small-scale, mesoscale environment. We'll be able to pinpoint this a little more clearly, but it's a pretty good indication it's going to be a loud night across several regions of the state. Now, here's 2 a.m. Again, some of these storms are probably producing hail still, and some of that hail could be quite large. It don't matter, it's 2 a.m. Some of these storms are probably going to be producing golf ball to baseball size hail, localized damaging winds. I really hope we're not doing tornadoes at 2 a.m., but I can't completely rule it out either. All right, here's 4 a.m. Guess what? Storms. North Texas, the Arklatex, northwest Texas, even parts of the Permian Basin. And again, some of these are probably producing golf ball to baseball size hail 4 in the morning because who wants to sleep, right? No. And then again here, 6, 7, 8. Guess what? We could have a cluster of storms firing up. Northwest Texas, the big country. Still a couple of showers and storms. Central Texas, northeast Texas, even southeast Texas. And then by the time we get to 10 a.m., oh good, we got severe storms already trying to fire up in parts of the big country, north central Texas, east Texas. And again, if this is what ends up happening, this would be more of a cluster of storms moving from west to east versus discrete supercells, hopefully. Now, let's get through this morning into this afternoon. Let's see how trends are setting up. It is possible we do not have this whole big blob of doom by 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. this is one of these things where we're going to have to see how the atmosphere is doing. But regardless, if this is right, we're going to have a very unpleasant morning in terms of showers and storms, heavy rainfall, and flooding. Texoma, North Texas, Northeast Texas, and some of these storms may be producing hail and gusty winds, for what it's worth, tomorrow morning. Then as we get towards 2 p.m., you can see we're starting to see a little bit more of an organization, a linear complex of thunderstorms, Waco over to Tyler. That moves into the Arklatex. By 4 o'clock, you can see, if that's right, we're going to have issues with severe storms. Again, hail, wind, maybe a few tornadoes. Then we have a new cluster of storms, somewhat semi-supercellular-y. Oh boy, that's a new word. Brazos Valley, East Texas. And again, this is what this model thinks at 11 p.m. tomorrow. Now, that doesn't really line up with the Day 2 severe weather outlook, does it? So, again, don't take this for verbatim, don't take it literally, but understand, we're going to have an active 2 days. You can see rain. I don't think that's really severe. I mean, there might be a bit of hail with the stuff around Wichita Falls, if that's right, but for what it's worth, you can see then by 1 a.m. Wednesday, this model now decides it wants supercells in the Brazos Valley, south central Texas. That would move towards Houston by early Wednesday morning. We're going to have to see, but clearly the indications are for today, severe weather potential, northwest Texas, the Big Country, the Concho Valley, the Edwards Plateau, south central Texas, North Texas, Texoma, the Arklatex, East Texas, the Brazos Valley, parts of southeast Texas, beginning probably about 3 p.m., so just after the eclipse, going through Tuesday morning, sunrise Tuesday. And again, this is going to be a big problem for those of you traveling home. Please keep that in mind. Not during the eclipse traveling home. And then we're doing it all over again tomorrow, except maybe shifted south 100 miles. So the Big Country, West Texas, the Concho Valley, the Permian Basin, the Edwards Plateau, the Rio Grande Plains, the Hill Country, South Central Texas, North Texas-ish, Northeast Texas, East Texas, Southeast Texas, the Brazos Valley, the Golden Triangle, the Coastal Plains, the Victoria Crossroads, down into the Coastal Bend. And then on Wednesday, we think the severe weather threat will exit Texas, move into Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, maybe parts of Tennessee. But we're still going to have showers and some storms back here in Texas, but it's going to be a rain issue. Speaking of rain, I don't want to neglect this. We're going to have heavy rain and flooding out of this. Over the next 3 days, now forecasting 1 to 3 inches of rain. West Texas, Northwest Texas, Texoma, North Texas, Central Texas, the Brazos Valley, the Golden Triangle, Southeast Texas. The potential for 4 to 8 inches of rain. The Arklatex, East Texas. Localized amounts over 7 to 8 to 9 inches possible. It gonna flood. We're going to have flooding problems in northeast Texas, eastern North Texas, DFW Metroplex East, all the way into the piney woods of East Texas. So yes, while we're talking severe storms, we're talking, all that issues, we're going to have flooding issues too, and those could be just as significant for some folks. We're going to have to keep a very close eye on it, and that is what we're going to do. All right, fire weather, because, Mother Nature not letting us have any sort of respite out of this. If there's any good news, it's the eastern two-thirds of the state. It's going to rain. The fire danger is going to be low. But that's not true for places like the Rio Grande Valley, the Edwards Plateau, for most of it, even though there's some threat for severe storms. It's not going to be many storms. The Big Bend, the Permian Basin, the Guadalupe Mountains, the Davis Mountains, the Trans-Pecos, the borderland of far west Texas around El Paso. The fire danger is going to remain very high to extreme, meaning we could still have large wildfires develop out there while we're dealing with a severe weather outbreak across the eastern two-thirds or the eastern half of Texas over the next 2 days, plus the eclipse, plus the threat for major flooding. So it's just all sorts of fun and joy here at the Texas Weather Center on this Monday, the 8th of April. Yeah, I need to take a nap. But the good news is, again, it's not a guarantee. But yeah, there's a lot of weather to deal with. We want folks to be weather aware. So, all right, that's going to be it for your Monday morning edition of the Texas Weather Roundup. We'll have a satellite stream up. We'll keep an eye on it. for breaks in the clouds, but at this point, you're committed to where you are probably, because traffic is going to probably not be particularly pleasant. Severe storms develop shortly after the eclipse. That's going to be a problem. Plan is, and the reason I'm back in this office versus down in Eclipse land, getting to view the eclipse, is we'll plan on having severe weather coverage this afternoon, this evening, as needed. Storm chasers will be out and about. Adam Lucio's going to be out. Jason Cooley will be out. We'll have live streaming video from them. And again, we'll just keep an eye on it. Best advice I could give you is just stay weather aware. Stay aware of your surroundings. Stay aware if you have storms coming in your area. You know, hail. Vehicles not particularly enjoyable, especially when glass is involved. So you can have the interactive weather radar in the free Texas Storm Chasers mobile app. Just search for Texas Storm Chasers where you download apps for your device. Get notified when we have live coverage, live storm chasing video, forecast updates. We have 2 interactive weather radars in the app, and you get local weather forecasts down to your neighborhood or somewhere across the United States. It doesn't float our boat at all. I probably shouldn't make any sort of boat puns when we have a threat of flooding. Today's reminder of the day. All right, so again, we'll keep an eye on things. I'm going to go try to get 5 to 6 hours of sleep. We'll see how that goes, and then we'll be back at it this afternoon. Jason Cooley will have some updates as needed for Eclipse folks, and we'll be at it with severe weather coverage later today, tonight, well into the night, and again on Tuesday. And y'all wonder why I went bald in my 20s. Well, the next 2 days are examples of why. All right, y'all have a good day. Stay safe if you're heading out and about. We'll keep you updated on the weather situation, the eclipse situation. Have a good one. God bless. Is that the button that turns the video off? It is not. See, this is why we can't have nice things. This is why I need a nap. All right, we're going to try that again. Bye-bye.